Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffery Combs, Extra Effort, 5th Gear. I have a fabulous Facebook Live for you here today. So if you're here, take notes, breathe, release, listen, and receive. So I'm going to let the Facebook Live populate a little here, and then I'm going to move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. I have a construction project going on, marketing campaigns, and a lot of moving parts. So I am in 6th gear today. So welcome to Facebook Live on a beautiful June day, the end of June, June 27th, year of our Lord, 2023. The Extra Effort, 5th gear right here. And this book right here, In the Zone. Old book. I've had it for many, many years. The spine is broken. Jared, good to see you. I saw the picture of you and Diane. That was awesome. Was that in Midway? Kevin Clinton Paulson, welcome to today's Facebook Live. David Harris, good to see you, David. David, if you go to Memories and go all the way back down the bottom of Memories, 10 years ago, you were in an event with me in Syracuse, New York. I believe it was Syracuse or wherever it was. Go back to Memories, David, and at the bottom of it, I believe it was 2010, you were at an event and you posted on that day. Jennifer Lynch, good to see you. It's so good to see you, Jennifer. Many years since I've spoken to you. Heber City, Jared, thank you very much. Jared, you're going to be moving to Miami soon. So if you're just joining me here this afternoon, this is the Extra Effort 5th gear. In the gearbox, do you know where 5th gear is on most manual transmissions? In most manual transmissions, it's up and over. It's over in the very top right. So 4th gear is up there. 5th gear is over there. It's up and over. So 5th gear. So 5th gear is this right here. 5th gear is the zone. When you are in the zone, that is the hands-free zone, or you are operating in a level of ease. So this is it right here, the extra effort. It's that little extra effort that sometimes will take you over the edge of being an addict and you'll land in sobriety. It's that an early struggle of sobriety, when you're not able to surrender, you find that strength within you, that courage to let go, and that courage to let go is 5th gear. When you access that courage, that is 5th gear. So the gateway to consciousness is through the front door of courage, and on the front of that door it says surrender. And surrender in our world of recovery, sobriety, and consciousness does not mean weakness, it actually means strength. So that's an upside down inverted word in our world of surrender. You're not weak by surrendering, you're actually strong by surrendering. You're surrendering your pride. And that's the pride that David Hawkins covers in the book, Letting Go. So letting go of pride, envy, jealousy, rage, anger, hate, resentment are some of the energies that you can let go of that will give you that extra effort. And so that extra effort, it comes from that breath, that breathe, that release, and let go. When you're in a lawsuit, or you're in a divorce, or you're in conflict, or you're in a situation with a boss or a significant other, and you're in this force, and you're this will, and you want to be right, and you want to take down the aristocracy, you want to take down the agenda, you want to take down that perpetrator, that narcissist, that violator, is when you take that deep, long breath. And the extra effort that you put in there, that is, you're letting go of your will and your pride, and that becomes 5th gear because now you're in the zone. Now, when you're in the zone, people show up differently. When you're in the zone, there becomes an effortless ease to life, at least for a few moments, perhaps a few hours, a few days, and then if you practice the skill and master the mechanism of letting go, it will happen frequently, and those events will be called synchronicity. It means people will sell you money. Someone will say, whatever you're selling, I'm buying, and they will send you the money, or someone will want to join your team, or a multitude of situations happen, or someone offers you a consulting position. And nothing is out of the blue, it's all by design. So when once in a blue moon or out of the blue, well, that takes you out of attraction. When you understand attraction, you're attracting your reality from your courage and your consciousness. It's not just luck. And so the vendor shows up who can rescue you from the situation you're in, or someone shows up on the side of the road and fixes your flat tire, or you've been dating challenging men or women, all of a sudden someone shows up who is genuine and real. It's not someone with the Sir Galahad complex. Or if you're building a sales team, someone shows up and they sign up with you and they produce on command with no conflict or very little energy. I mean, it's like then your eyes go, whoa, this is happening. And so it's your responsibility to believe that you're capable of attracting to reality. Now, in spiritual laws, that means that you are casting the burden of the Christ within. You are trusting in God. You're trusting in your higher power, and you're breathing, releasing, and letting go. So you're virtually taking your hands off the wheel, and you're in fifth gear. So that means that there's a centrifugal energy that is happening by the courage and the consciousness that you are now accessing. But when you are struggling, that's your will, that's your pride. And when you continue to edify that struggle and talk about that struggle and give it more and more power, then you give it a shelf life, and then you can't see the forest for the trees, or you can't see the end. You can't see as you look down the landscape. If you have vision and clarity, there's a vanishing point. That's the horizon line. So this is when it all comes together like this, and then there is a vanishing point right down there. Now, I have driven across country in very unique places. West Texas, I've been in West Texas and also in the Panhandle, up in Amarillo, and then on the very west side is El Paso. And there are places in Texas where the highway is completely flat, and the landscape is completely flat, and you can actually, in summertime, see the heat coming off the highway. And you've seen pictures of it. If you've ever experienced it, it's a very unique situation. I mean, that's the vanishing point, the horizon line. And that's what a vision and clarity is of the outcome you seek to create. And that's when you're able to lean back, breathe and release. You close your eyes. You trust in your God. You cast the burden. And you're able to be here and be now. And in that state, there's an altar call. You can call on command to your reality, the people, situations, and opportunities you are seeking to attract. Yesterday I had applied for ERC. That's an employee retention, an employee situation through the Internal Revenue Service, and I received a substantial check for that from 2022. So, I mean, that is money in the mail. I talk about this. I preach it. I teach it. It can absolutely happen to you. 4 figures showing up in the mail by divine and by command. And as you learn to operate in that flow, these situations will happen to you much more frequently. As I said, someone will hire you. Someone will seek out your services. Someone will say, you were referred to me by. I mean, that is God winking at you. That is synchronicity. That's saying, my son, my child, be aware you are in the right place. You are in the flow. You will come out of the flow when you start to doubt yourself. Doubt shuts down all flow. Anxiety, fear, and doubt completely brings you to your knees. It brings you to the ground. It brings you to the closet. It brings you to tears. It will bring you to overwhelm. It will lead to multiple addictions. And that anxiety, fear, and doubt will keep you in fight or flight. And that fight or flight mechanism that so many people hold on to, if you hire me to be your coach, that is exactly what I'll be teaching you to let go of, so that you can be in the flow, in the now. And this is a book that's a great metaphor for this, in the zone. This is the hole-in-one. This is the grand slam in the 9th inning. This is the 35-foot jump shot. This is the campaign is closing and someone calls in and you bonus the project, or you can't find a buyer for your property and someone calls in with cash. I mean, no one's been asking to see the property, and then at the last minute, when the listing is going to expire, someone has cash for the offer. And that's the effortless ease that you are seeking to create by being here, being now, and being present. So in the syllabus of the call, of the Facebook Live today, stuck in neutral. That's where most of society is, right there. Stuck in neutral. That's the procrastination factor. That means going left, going right, going forward, going backward, while all staying at the same point. That is the overwhelmed, overweight, can't get my car in the garage syndrome that so many people live in. And so you have to come out of neutral and move into first gear. And first gear is up there in a manual transmission. Usually it's up and over. And so that first gear it's a different RPM. It's a slower speed. But at least you're in motion. And it's that one day at a time motion that is required. So that you have to take your foot off the brake also. So you're not in start-stop mode. You have to take your foot off the brake and have it on the accelerator. That means it's going to require you to let go of the story about the outcome that hasn't happened. I'll get started after the 1st of July. I'll hire you in June. I mean, I had someone say that to me, I'll hire you in June. I said, well, today's June 1st. Oh, so, I mean, this is how many people operate in an overwhelmed, overweight state, carrying the weight of the world around emotionally and physically. And if you have suffered enough and you've silently suffered, well, today is a good day to find first gear. So you don't find fifth gear. You can't go from first to fifth. You got to be able to downshift, upshift, fourth, and then fifth. And that's all the centrifugal energy that's required. It's a great metaphor to understand a manual transmission, an old school manual transmission from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and or 70s, and how the clutch, the synchronization, a rear end has an impact in it, horsepower, all the components of that engine, specifically with the transmission and the gearbox. I once owned a 1983 911 Porsche SC. Had one of the most unique gearboxes of any manual transmission I've ever driven. I'm a very good driver. I've driven many manual transmissions, and that was one of the most unique ones, a 1983 911 SC Porsche. That's anxiety, fear, and doubt right there. That's what will keep you stuck in neutral. It's anxiety, fear, and doubt that keeps most people in a business, in their life, from not releasing weight, from not letting go of the debt, from not creating results, from not being the person that they are capable of becoming. And it's just recreating the same situation over and over. The extra effort is a commitment consciousness. The extra effort is when you will actually pick the telephone up and you will call the leads. You will actually call the people on your list. You will actually reach out to someone with a message. You'll let go of the story you have that hinders you from being able to ask the questions. You'll let go. That extra effort is that you're able to follow through. It's the follow through principle. It's the extra effort. Rather than throwing in the towel early, you stick out the day, and you'll find when you stick that day out and you do that over and over, that it's interesting how results start to happen and show up from that extra effort. It's also referred to as the compound effect. And it's also the centrifugal energy that happens through the repetition and experience. But you will not find this by being neutral. The zone is where there's an ease and an effortlessness to it. Now, I have had months where I've had 6-figure months before in my careers. And now that was a long stretch from when for 8 years I made no money. And I once was $100,000 in credit card debt, and I mean, this can happen. See, when you pay the price, and you pay the price up front, and you're not whining about the price. Most people whine about the price. So many people, they'll start a network marketing business, or they'll start an insurance business, and they'll see someone making $100,000 a month, or they'll see someone making $50,000 a month, and they go, well, I could do that. Well, they absolutely could. I have coached multiple 6-figure monthly income earners, multiple. I just coached the CEO of a textile company today, and through my coaching, I was my coaching session, coaching number 7, and he's been offered the possibility to have equity ownership. I mean, see, that's the compounded effect that's in the zone, and that can happen to you when you're in that process. When you learn the skill of letting go, there's a mechanism to letting go. It's a longer breath cycle. It cannot possibly be learned by processing, thinking, and analyzing. Letting go, what you're letting go of is the fight or flight mechanism. If you've been violated, traumatized, sexually abused, if you're an adult child of a narcissist, adult child of alcoholics, well, you're going to grow up in acute criticism. You're going to grow up getting beaten with belts and sticks, and you're never going to be good enough. That's what puts you in fight or flight. That's not your fault. That's the facts. And it's your responsibility to understand that you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 45 years old. You're in debt. You're behind in your dreams. You got pennies in your pockets, creditors calling. And you're way behind in your dreams. The great Jim Rohn said it's time to change your philosophy. For me, I remember when I started Herbalife in 1990, I got to watch Jim Rohn's content. I thought, oh my God. Well, 10 years later, from 1990 to September 2000, on September 30th, I got to share the stage with Jim Rohn in Los Angeles, California, with only 65 people in the audience. Many people would say that would have been preposterous. That wasn't possible. That couldn't possibly happen. Well, 1996, 7, and 8 set me up for that, but it was from 1990 to 96 that I was paying the price, putting in the extra effort. I had a little office in Pleasanton, California. I had an office in Dallas, Texas. I had an office in Washington, D.C., and Reston, Virginia, where I built businesses, none of them which succeeded. All of them I ended up going out of business, joining a new company, finding a new opportunity, waiting tables, getting a sales job, starting a new business, waiting tables, getting a sales job. This was a 7-year arduous journey that it took to really click for me. Now, I was also clean and sober, going to 12-step meetings, practicing recovery, becoming a Christian, doing no dating, doing my best to stay focused on exercise, business, and consciousness. And it all paid off for me because in year number 8, it began to click. And year number 9 was 5th gear for me. So when I got clean and sober, I was in 1st gear. And I was in 1st gear for a couple of years. And then in my 3rd year of sobriety, business started to click for me. But I wasn't good enough at it that I could really make a full-time living out of it. I was starting and stopping and starting and stopping. I was choosing the wrong businesses. I had the juice and the edge, but I didn't have the demeanor yet. I hadn't developed the mindset. I had the juice and the edge left over from being a high school athlete, being a drug addict, drug dealer. I had that cardio cocktail, that edgy edge, but I wasn't there yet. And it used to piss me off because I would see other people walking the stages, wearing the gold jackets, and I was watching the other people in envy and pride and resentment. And when I started to really cast the burden to the Christ within, the game started to change for me. People began to show up differently, but once again, for me, there was no instant success and no instant gratification. It took me 8 years to find this. Now, I had zone moments. So you can have a zone moment, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in the zone. A zone moment is not luck. It's God winking at you, letting you know that you're in the right process, that you're in 3rd gear. But for you to be right here in 5th gear, this is it right here, 5th gear. This requires discipline. Now, there's Susan Dampier's on the Facebook Live today. She is definitely in 5th gear because she has paid the price. And if you ever heard her story, it's an amazing story of perseverance, being a mompreneur, being a business owner, having a job, withstanding all the other situations in the circle of influence, not whining, not being a victim, and having the courage and the resolve. The resolve is when you dig deep, and it's somewhere between your teeth and your gut. Because in your teeth, you have the grind, and then it's in your gut. That's your gut feeling when you know you have it. You're not there yet, but you know it's there. You know it's there. And you stop forcing because you let go, because you know it's inevitable. And in that space, you're in the I am whatever was required. I am whatever it takes. So when you're in that space, it's inevitable, but it's also important that even though it's inevitable that you're going to break through and you're going to succeed, it's important that you let go, and that you let go of the time frame. And see, many people want it RFN right now. They want it right now. You know what the F stands for? Right now. They want it right now, but that it doesn't mean it's going to happen right now. That's when you let go of your pride. That's when you let go of your will. That's when you cast the burden of the Christ within. That's when you're able to breathe, release, and let go. That's when you're able to be and stay in production regardless of the outcome, regardless of the results. You know that you're crossing the bridge and you're in fourth gear when you can produce effortlessly and the people still don't buy, join, or start with you, and you're not whining, complaining. You're not doubting yourself because you know you're in the process. You know that you're good enough. You know that you're paying the price, and you know that results are inevitable. Now, this takes a man and woman of tremendous courage to be able to stay in a business without getting paid or without walking the stage or getting the rewards. The ego wants instant gratification, and it doesn't happen that way. The gratification is going to come from you being grateful for being where you are and who you are, and not focusing on shiny objects and trips and vacations and all these things that you think will make you successful that won't. What will allow you to be successful is being good enough. And when you are good enough, you're going to be in fourth gear. Fifth gear comes the zone. It comes from this right here. This is the extra effort daily. That means toiling laboriously into the midnight hour. That means that you are absolutely so committed to your success or so committed to your sobriety that you will do what is ever required of you. If your sponsor says pour coffee and get the styrofoam cups out, then you will do it and be grateful that you're doing it. Or if it's suggested that you talk to people in your circle of influence that you haven't spoken to before, you do it without an excuse. Or you let go of all the stories that have held you back. You stop worrying about pushing the send button. You stop worrying about the extra effort. See, many people, they have such a story about the extra effort. They go, I put the extra effort in, but I'm not sure if I'll get paid for it. I mean, that's like this right here. I would put the extra effort in, but I'm not sure if I'd get paid for it. I'd start a business, but I'm not sure if I'd succeed. So what I'll do is just play it safe, and I'll stay in neutral or first gear. I'll seduce myself between neutral and first gear rather than finding the flow in second, third, and fourth gear, and then eventually finding this right here, the zone. This is a great book. I highly recommend this book. It's for achieving optimal performance in business and sports. I've read that book a few hundred times. I highly endorse it. My name is Jeffery Combs. I am the president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. If you're an existing client or a new client following my content and you'd like to find out more about my coaching services or adding on to your existing coaching, feel free to reach out to me and I will get right back to you immediately. If you have not received a free 20-minute coaching call from me, feel free to reach out. I would be honored to offer that to you. I'll be back here tonight, Tuesday night, 2 for Tuesday. That will be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lynn, Brittany, Mike, Aaron, Nick, Valerie, who else do we have here today? Kevin, Clinton, Aaron, good to see you. John, Susan, Demetra. See, I saw Sarah. Good to see all of you here today. Mike Green. Good to see all of you here today. Mari, thank you. Sarah, thank you so much. Thank all of you for being here today. Scott, my honor to be here with you on 2 for Tuesday. Have a great afternoon, everyone.